You ever have one of those days that feels too good to be real? The kind that's wrapped in golden light, soft jazz playing from the kitchen speaker, and the scent of lemon roast wafting through the air like your life is a commercial for contentment? Yeah, that was my Tuesday. Our 10th anniversary. 10 years married to Olivia, a woman with a laugh that could unbutton your mood no matter how bad your day was. She was smart, witty, the kind who never lost a debate but always knew when to let you think you won. We'd been through a lot. Moved 3 times. Survived layoffs, back pain, burnt turkey, and a cat named Muffin that absolutely hated me. But we'd made it. That night, Olivia handed me a small box across the dinner table. Her smile had that twinkle, like she knew something I didn't. "You're not going to cry, are you?" she teased, one eyebrow raised. Because I didn't bring tissues. I chuckled, playing it cool. Depends what's in the box. If it's another "world's okayest husband" mug, I'm filing for emotional damages. She laughed short, sincere. "Open it." I did. Inside was a single car key. Glossy, black, sleek. "No way," I said, blinking. "You got me a Challenger?" She nodded, grinning. "Midnight blue. Just like the one you used to stare at in that dealership window. It's parked outside. Happy anniversary, Logan." I stared at her. "Olivia, this is way too much." She tilted her head. 10 years is too much? You've put up with me for a decade, and all you got was a key to my heart and a handful of gray hairs. Time to level up." And just like that, I fell in love all over again. I told you, perfect day. Candlelight. Favorite wine. Sinatra humming in the background. But perfection has a way of overstaying its welcome. Because, as I stood in the driveway later that night, admiring the new ride under the porch light, something flickered in the reflection of the windshield. A second car. Parked 2 houses down. Black. Windows tinted. It had been there all day. Didn't think much of it at first. Until I saw it again. The next day. Then the next. And just like that, the whisper in my head began to talk louder. By Thursday, the car wasn't just background anymore. It was a character in the story. Same black sedan, same tinted windows, same spot down the block like it had bought property there. And it wasn't just parked. It watched. I noticed it when I came back from the gym, when I left for the office. Even when I got up at 3 a.m. to get a glass of water, its silhouette was out there under the streetlight like a shadow pretending to be metal. Friday night, I finally brought it up over dinner. "You ever seen that black car parked down by the Willis's place?" I asked, stabbing my salad like it owed me money. Olivia didn't look up. No. "What kind of car?" "Black sedan. Always in the same spot. Been there for days now." She shrugged, busy scrolling on her phone. "Probably someone visiting. Or Willis's daughter has a new boyfriend." "Maybe," I said. But my gut said otherwise. You learn to listen to your gut after 35. It's not just for fried food warnings. I walked outside later that night and stared down the street. Just me, a hoodie, the cold air, and that car. My curiosity started pacing like a detective with nowhere to be. So I walked toward it. Not fast. Not suspicious. Just your average suburban night stroller trying to get steps in. As I got closer, I noticed 2 things. 1, the car was off, but it wasn't cold. The hood gave off heat, meaning someone had driven it recently. 2, there was someone inside. I only caught a flicker through the tinted glass, a shape in the driver's seat, upright and still. They didn't flinch. Didn't look at me. Just sat there like they belonged. I turned away, heart beating harder than it should have been, and headed back. "Someone in the car?" Olivia asked when I walked in. Her voice was too casual. Like she already knew the answer. "Yeah," I said, watching her. Didn't see their face. She nodded slowly and returned to her book. Like she was pretending not to file the conversation away. Like she didn't care. And maybe she didn't. But I did. That night, I didn't sleep much. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that black car. Felt its presence like a breath on my neck. Not because I was scared. Because I knew. Something was coming. Saturday came with a surprise. Olivia stood in the doorway of my home office, leaning just enough to look casual. Too casual. "We've been invited to dinner," she said, like it was a sentence she'd rehearsed. Just something small. One of the guys from work and his wife. My fingers paused on the keyboard. "Since when do you bring work home?" She smiled. "Since they've been asking about you for months." I thought it'd be nice. That smile. Polished. Polite. Like the kind you give a waiter who brings you the wrong order, but you're too tired to care. "Sure," I said. "Why not?" She nodded and left before I could ask anything else. That night, We pulled up to a trendy little Italian place that looked like it charged by the syllable. Linen napkins. Wine lists thicker than my mortgage agreement. We walked in, and there he was. Already seated. Already smirking. Chase. Tall. Confident. Wearing a tight black shirt like it came with a gym membership and a lighting crew. Olivia lit up like a spark, plugged the moment she saw him. Her hand grazed his shoulder as she leaned in for a hello, and mine clenched into a fist under the tablecloth. "This is Chase," she said, all cheerful and breezy. "You've heard me talk about him." "Yeah, I had. Too often." "Chase this," Chase said. Chase helped. Chase knows just how to. Oh. Suddenly, every little laugh, every late meeting, every text she'd put down screen first made perfect, gut-wrenching sense. "Logan, right?" Chase offered his hand across the table. "Heard a lot about you." I didn't take his hand. "You must be very understanding," he added, sipping his wine. The nerve of this man. Polite voice. Knife behind every word. I looked at Olivia. She wasn't denying anything. She just sat there, smiling like this was all so civilized. Then he said it. "I'll make this simple. You've got two options, Logan. Leave quietly, or face me like a man." He said it with that smug tone people use when they think they've already won. I sat there, silent, breathing through my nose like a bull sizing up the matador. And then I smiled. "Ashley used to be the kind of woman who looked at me like I hung the stars," I said slowly. "Now she laughs at my pain over lobster bisque." The table went still. "Oh, and Chase." He raised an eyebrow. "You want your teeth whole or in pieces?" I stood up, calm as a sunrise, and flipped the table. Wine everywhere. Plates shattered like nerves. The restaurant exploded in gasps. I didn't touch him. Not really. Not more than once. But the message landed. They kicked me out. Of course they did. I walked out into the cold with blood on my sleeve and clarity in my chest. That wasn't the start of their affair. That was the final act. She brought me there to watch me lose. But I don't lose. I evolve. And when I got home, that quiet house wasn't a home anymore. Her perfume still lingered, but it wasn't alone. There was another scent there. Musky. Arrogant. I walked straight into the bedroom. Bedmate. Too neatly. And that's when I saw them. A pair of heels she never wore around me. Red. Expensive. Ready for someone else. That's when the fire inside me didn't burn. It froze. And I knew exactly what I had to do. You ever walk through your own house and feel like a guest? Like every piece of furniture's giving you the side eye? That's what it felt like the night I got home from that disaster of a dinner. It wasn't just that the air was off. It was something deeper. The walls didn't feel like mine anymore. They echoed, not with sound, but with secrets. And I'd had enough of playing dumb. I stood in the bedroom doorway, staring at those red heels like they'd grown fangs. Olivia never wore heels around me. Said her feet hurt too much. But apparently, Chase inspired better posture. My hands were still buzzing from the adrenaline, but my thoughts had never been clearer. This was no longer a question of if. It was a question of how deep. So I started digging. The vanity was the first stop. She always left her tablet unlocked, confident in the security of my trust. And for a decade, she was right. I never snooped, never questioned, never needed to. That was before Chase sat across from me like some knockoff Bond villain. The tablet was wide open, bless her heart. I opened the photo app and there it was. Like a bad movie with excellent lighting. Mirror selfies. Hotel room background. Olivia in lingerie I'd never seen before. Smiling that smile that used to be mine. Date stamp. Last weekend. She told me she was in Seattle for a marketing conference. Must have been very hands-on. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just stared at that screen like it owed me an apology. Then I opened the Messages app, and, surprise, surprise, there was Chase. "My beautiful girl. Can't wait to see you again." And one that read, "He's too distracted to notice." Don't worry. Distracted? I'd been working 10-hour days to save up for her dream vacation. Florence, Venice, the Amalfi Coast. I'd even started brushing up on Italian. Ti amo. What a joke. I didn't stop there. I pulled out her nightstand drawer and found a burner phone tucked beneath an old scarf. Hidden but not well. Like she wanted to be caught, but didn't want to own the fallout. No passcode. The messages on that phone made the ones on the tablet look like Hallmark cards. Dates. Times. Motels. A whole routine. But here's where it got interesting. One message from a new number. "Any updates?" He's starting to suspect something. So it wasn't just Chase. There was someone else watching me. Feeding her intel. That black car down the block wasn't just parked. It was posted. And suddenly, everything clicked. Sunday morning, Olivia acted like nothing happened. She made pancakes. Pancakes. As if the sin of betrayal could be masked by syrup. "Did you sleep okay?" she asked, pouring orange juice like we were still in the honeymoon phase. "Yeah," I said flatly. "Had a weird dream, though." "Oh." I looked her right in the eyes. "Dreamt you brought your boyfriend to dinner and he challenged me to a duel." She laughed. "Must have been the wine." I didn't laugh. I watched her. Carefully. And when she turned away to grab something from the fridge, I finally saw it. The phone in her back pocket. Not her regular one. A second phone. I filed that away. That afternoon, I played dumb and told her I was running errands. She kissed my cheek like she hadn't detonated our life, and I drove straight to the bank. She'd left her financial tracks cleaner than her text messages, but not clean enough. Our joint account showed frequent ATM withdrawals, small amounts. Always near the same hotel. And not the nice kind, either. The kind with hourly rates and carpet that smells like betrayal. From there, I stopped by a buddy's place, Brian. Old college roommate. Works in cybersecurity now. Quiet guy, loyal to a fault, and just paranoid enough to be useful. I handed him the burner phone. "You want the truth or just enough to keep your dignity intact?" he asked, half joking. "All of it," I said. "Don't filter." He plugged it in, tapped a few keys, and whistled. Man, she's not just cheating. She's organizing it like a damn startup. Photos, videos, schedules, GPS logs. A second cloud account synced to the phone. And then, Brian found something else. "There's a folder named Exit Plan," he said, turning the screen toward me. I scrolled through. Screenshots of bank balances. Her resume. A lease application for a condo in her name only. With Chase's emergency contact information listed. She wasn't just cheating. She was planning her escape. From me. When I got home that night, she was in the bathtub, humming. I stood in the hallway, listening to her sing like nothing was wrong. Like she wasn't plotting a coup from the comfort of scented bubbles and lavender candles. She had no idea what was coming. Because that was the moment I decided this wasn't going to end with heartbreak and begging. No, this would end on my terms. Revenge wouldn't be messy. It wouldn't be loud. It would be calculated. Clean. Cruel. She wanted an exit? I'd give her one. But not the one she was expecting. There's a strange calm that settles over you once the heartbreak calcifies. Not numbness, not rage, just focus. Cold, quiet focus. Sunday night, I stood in the garage with the door closed, phone in hand, not to call anyone. Just to stare at the reflection of my own face in the screen and remind myself, you're not the fool here. Olivia thought she was smart. That her affair was a perfect heist. That I'd go down like a cliché, crying, apologizing, maybe blaming myself. But I wasn't going down. I was setting the stage. Monday morning, I made her breakfast. I know, ironic. Eggs, toast, coffee, just like I used to when I actually liked her. She looked surprised. "You're being sweet," she said. "Thought we could start fresh this week," I replied. Her eyes flickered with something guilt? Suspicion? She hid it fast behind a sip of coffee. "That's nice, Logan." She kissed my cheek again. That same fake affection, rehearsed and empty. It was almost cute how she thought I didn't know. At work, I started making the calls. I transferred half our joint savings to an old personal account I hadn't touched since grad school. Legal? Absolutely. We'd signed off years ago on a clause that either of us could withdraw without the other's consent. She never read the fine print. I called my buddy Marcus, divorce lawyer with the kind of reputation that makes people settle fast. Told him everything. He didn't say, "I told you so," but his silence felt like one. "You want scorched earth or surgical strike?" he asked. "Surgical," I said. "No blood. Just consequences." He chuckled. "That's what I like to hear." Next step, the house. Our home was in my name. Olivia always said paperwork bored her, so I handled the mortgage, the taxes, everything. She thought she was biding time to leave me and take half. She was wrong. I met with a real estate agent, quietly. Told her I'd be listing the house, quickly, privately. Olivia didn't know it, but she was living in escrow now. By the end of the week, I'd have a buyer and she'd be holding a glass of wine in a home that legally wasn't hers anymore. Tuesday night, I made my move. Olivia was on the couch watching her favorite crime drama, How Poetic. I sat beside her and casually asked, "So that dinner with Chase and his wife, we should return the favor. Maybe host something here?" She froze for half a second. Just half. Then she nodded, too quickly. Sure. I'll check his schedule. Check his schedule. Right. I gave her a smile. Tell him to bring wine. I'll grill something special. She smiled, but her hand clenched the remote a little tighter. Wednesday, the black sedan was gone. Just vanished. Too obvious, maybe. Too exposed. But the damage had been done. I'd seen everything I needed. I'd memorized the license plate the second night. Brian ran it through a backdoor database. Belonged to a rental service. The driver was hired. She'd paid someone to watch me. And she thought I was predictable? Sweetheart, I was raised by a father who hid Christmas gifts in ceiling vents and never trusted banks. You don't outfox me with off-brand spy games. Thursday, I started phase 2, the performance. I played dumb. Apologetic, even. Told her I'd been distant lately, that maybe I'd been too caught up in work. I gave her just enough to chew on, something to distract her from the slow dismantling of her safety net. She softened. She smiled more. Touched my hand at dinner. Even offered to plan something special for us this weekend. Oh, she had plans, all right. By Friday, I had the house deal halfway closed. I made sure Marcus had copies of the burner phone data, the hotel receipts, the photos from the tablet. All stored. All time-stamped. He grinned when he saw the file. Anything she signed? Texts? Proof she thought you didn't know. Oh yeah, I said. Tons. Then this'll go fast. Judges hate liars. Saturday morning, I went for a jog. Just me and the cool air and the pounding rhythm of someone who was a week away from ending his marriage like a prologue instead of a tragedy. When I got back, she was in the kitchen on her phone, smiling, typing fast. I walked in without a word. Opened the fridge. Grabbed a bottle of water. Then I turned. Who's chase meeting tonight? I asked casually. She flinched. Just slightly. Just once. She said, too quickly. I took a sip of water. You've been texting him all morning. I saw it from the porch. She blinked. He's planning a birthday party. For his nephew. I nodded slowly. Sounds wholesome. She narrowed her eyes. Why are you asking? I shrugged. Just making conversation. You used to tell me things. A pause. Then she laughed, but it was forced. You're acting weird. Am I? I smiled, stepping close. Or are you just finally starting to wonder if I'm not as stupid as you thought? Her mouth opened, but no words came out. I leaned in, kissed her forehead gently, and whispered, Don't worry. You'll get all your answers soon. Then I walked out of the room. That night, I sat in the garage again, alone. My plan was almost complete. Olivia didn't know the house was already under contract. She didn't know the court papers were being drafted. She didn't know that by the following Friday, her entire exit strategy would collapse like a bad tent in a thunderstorm. She thought I'd break. She was wrong, because I wasn't interested in stopping her. I was helping her pack. Friday arrived with the kind of calm that makes you suspicious. No wind, no rain, no calls from telemarketers. Just silence, like the world was waiting to see what I'd do. Perfect. That morning, Olivia hummed while making coffee. She wore that soft white sweater I'd bought her last Christmas, the one she only wore when she wanted to feel cozy or appear innocent. It almost worked if I didn't already know she had a rendezvous planned later that evening. She didn't know I'd moved her favorite vase, the one hiding the spare key. She didn't know I'd installed a small camera in the living room smoke detector last week. And she definitely didn't know that the house she thought was still our home had a pending sale tag just waiting for Monday's final signature. But I knew. I knew everything. That afternoon, I texted her. Let's have dinner together tonight. Just us. I'll cook. I missed that. It was bait, and she took it. Oh, that sounds lovely. Should I bring wine? Bring wine. Like we were newlyweds again. I replied, Red. The good kind. Let's toast to new beginnings. Because tonight wasn't a dinner. It was a send-off. I spent 2 hours prepping. Steak, garlic potatoes, grilled asparagus. Simple but sharp. Like the mood I was aiming for. At 6:40, she walked through the door wearing lipstick she hadn't used in years. Not since the early days. That color was reserved for nights when she wanted to feel powerful. Or when she wanted to manipulate. She handed me the wine with a kiss on the cheek. Smells amazing, she said, sniffing the air. You always did like my steaks medium rare, I replied, heading back to the kitchen. She followed behind me. Are we okay? I turned slowly. Why wouldn't we be? Her eyes searched mine. She was trying to read me, trying to find that sweet, oblivious version of Logan she used to string along. I gave her nothing. Dinner started smooth. We talked like strangers pretending to be married. Weather, work, a neighbor's dog that kept escaping. Nothing that mattered. Then, as she swirled her wine and complimented the seasoning, I said, "So, any exciting plans this weekend?" She hesitated. "Just errands. Anything I should know about?" She smiled. "Why? You planning to follow me?" I grinned. "Wouldn't need to. You're not exactly hard to track." Her smile cracked. And then I laid the napkin down. "You know," I said casually, "I've been thinking a lot about loyalty." She froze, fork halfway to her mouth. "Logan." I leaned in. "No, let me get this out. I think it's wild, really, how you can sleep next to someone, share a mortgage, make plans for the future, all while practicing your escape. Logan, you almost had me. Really? But the little details gave you away. Stop. The red heels. The burner phone. The scent of someone else's cologne in my bedroom." Her fork hit the plate. And just like that, the mask dropped. No more pretending. Her face hardened. Cold. Caught. But not sorry. "So that's what this dinner is about," she said flatly. I nodded. "You finally get it." She sat back, arms crossed. "So what now? You gonna yell? Throw things? Cry?" I chuckled. "No, Olivia. I'm going to watch." "Watch what?" "Watch it all fall apart for you." She narrowed her eyes. "What do you mean?" I reached into the drawer beside me and pulled out a single folder. Labeled neatly. Paper clipped. "Your exit strategy," I said, dropping it onto the table. She opened it with shaking fingers. Bank transfers. Screenshots. Emails to Chase. Text threads. Lease agreements. Flight reservations. Even her little Google search. "Can I take the house in a divorce if it's only in his name?" She looked up, pale. "You went through my things. You planned to disappear. I just wanted to know if you were leaving me or robbing me too." She shoved the folder away. "You had no right." "Oh, I had every right. You just thought I'd never use it." We sat in silence for a long second. Then she spoke. "So what's your game, Logan? You want to drag me through court? Make me look bad? Humiliate me?" "No." She blinked. "No," she repeated. I leaned in. "I want you to leave tonight." With nothing. She stood up, laughing. "You can't be serious." "Oh, but I am." "Your bags are packed. They're in the garage. I had Brian change the locks this morning." Her face turned red. "You don't have the right." "I do. Because starting Monday, the house is sold." "And legally? You're not on any of it." She stepped forward. "I will fight this." "Good luck," I said, pushing another folder across the table. "There's a court motion filed this morning. Emergency petition. Grounds? Adultery, financial deception, abandonment of marital obligations." Her mouth opened. Closed. She looked down at the wine, then back at me. "You planned all this," she whispered. I nodded. Carefully. She sat back down, defeated. "You're not the man I married." "Exactly," I said. "He was trusting. Naive. He bought flowers while you booked hotel rooms." Her lip trembled, but she didn't cry. That was the part that hurt most. She didn't even fight for me. She fought for control. "I guess this is goodbye, then," she muttered. "No," I said, standing. "This is justice." 10 minutes later, she was gone. Out the front door. Suitcase rolling behind her. No tears. No apology. Just silence. I sat back down at the table. Took a bite of cold steak. Poured myself another glass of wine. And for the first time in a long, long while, I felt full. Chase didn't know it yet, but his life was about to take a hard left. See, while Olivia was busy packing guilt into her designer suitcase, I mailed a little care package to Chase's office. Overnight delivery. Handwritten label. Inside, a flash drive. Contents? Hotel security footage I acquired from a sympathetic front desk clerk. Screenshots of their messages. A printout of Olivia's exit plan, which, surprise, surprise, listed Chase as a financial fallback if her condo application didn't go through. And a note. Just one line, written on plain paper. She had a plan for both of us. Hope you had insurance. Now, I wasn't sure what Chase would do with that. Cry? Ghost her? Pull a muscle trying to lift his ego? Didn't matter. Because by the time Olivia texted him that weekend, something cute, I assume he was already blocking her. And his company? They had a no-office relationships policy buried deep in the HR manual. Guess who found it? I sent the drive to them too. Professional consequences? Inevitable. You don't detonate a marriage and expect nobody to get hit by the shrapnel. Mutual friends started texting, some pretending they never knew, others just wanted to stay out of it. But the truth always peeks through, and when it did, it hit them all like a slap in church. Even Olivia's sister reached out. Her message was short. I didn't know she was capable of this. You deserved better. I'm sorry. I didn't respond. Some apologies come too late to cash. Meanwhile, my lawyer moved like a surgeon, quick, quiet, efficient. He negotiated terms that left Olivia with what she walked in with: a suitcase, a few clothes, and a suddenly complicated relationship with Chase's voicemail. I kept the house sale quiet, she found out from a friend. And by then, she didn't have the energy to scream. She tried once, called me in the middle of the night, sobbing. I listened for 20 seconds, then said, "You made your choice. This is just the invoice." Then I hung up. Revenge doesn't fix the past, but it frees the future. And mine was wide open. I changed everything. New job, different town. Sold the car she bought me and used the money to take a road trip across 3 states. Just me, a duffel bag, and playlists that didn't include any songs we used to dance to. I stopped flinching at the sound of her name. Stopped blaming myself. Started sleeping better. I started dating again, too. Cautiously. Like testing ice after a long winter. I didn't dive in. I learned to walk slowly. You don't forget betrayal, but you learn from it. You stop mistaking charm for character. Laughter for loyalty. Smiles for sincerity. The scars? They stay, but they stop bleeding. I ran into Olivia again 8 months later. Grocery store. She looked smaller, somehow. Not physically, just dimmer. The kind of person who used to burn bright but played too many games with matches. She saw me, hesitated, then approached. "Hi," she said, voice careful. "Hi. You look good," she added, eyes scanning for familiarity that no longer lived in me. "I am good," I replied. Awkward silence. Then, like she couldn't help herself. "Do you ever miss it? Us?" I stared at her for a moment. "No," I said, "but I learned a lot." She nodded slowly. Maybe she expected something else, nostalgia, softness, an opening. But I gave her nothing. Because I wasn't angry anymore. I was free. She cheated. She lied. She thought she could turn me into a footnote in her story. Instead, I rewrote the ending. I didn't lose her. She lost me. And I made sure that loss was permanent, silent, and perfectly executed, like the final note in a symphony no one saw coming. So if you ever find yourself sitting across the table from someone who thinks you're blind, broken, or beaten, smile. Because they're not ready for what happens when the quiet man finally stands up. And they never see it coming.